Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Well, on this fine day before Father's Day, you're going to be so glad you stayed tuned to the second half of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., because we have one of our favorite and most informative guests we have on a regular basis. Thank goodness we have him as a great resource for us. We always learn something new because we have Mr. Jim Reape with Reape Rickett Law Attorneys at Law. Is it a law firm?
The Reape Rickett Law Firm.
There we go.
Nice. Look at that voice, that booming voice telling you how to say it, Don. Hey, you name hacked someone for a while. You haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, thank you for always pointing that out, Gino. my left-hand man.
Yeah.
All right, so we always bring Jim in because he gives us very good insight. Jim, how many years experience do you have?
32 going on 33 now.
Okay, that's a lot of experience, and we talk about this a lot, and you can chime in on this, Jim, because one thing we have an advantage of, we believe in our industry with helping people with home financing, because it's the largest debt, largest asset you probably will own. So how that is handled is imperative. So we feel that because we've done so many loans together, we do more loans than most in our valley, it gives us more touches. More things to see about what works, what doesn't work, what to watch out for, what to think of, because we have so much more experience. When you say it's the same thing in your business?
Oh, absolutely. The analogy that I like to use is if all of you can remember when you took driver's education and you have to look out the windshield, you have to look at the side view mirrors, you have to look at the rear view mirrors, you have to look at your instrument and gauges, and you have to monitor all of these things. So it's information overload to begin with. The more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. And without really thinking about the process, you wind up doing all of those things. So within my practice, what happens is after years and years and years and years of doing this, a courtroom is like my living room. That's my comfort level. I can understand what's going on behind me. I can understand what's going on beside me. I can give complete attention and focus to what's going on in front of me.
You know what's coming at you.
Exactly. And it's just a learned skill where your awareness and your perception becomes more alive. The other thing that happens is most of the time people come in and they're on their first, second, third, seventh divorce. Well, I've gone through thousands.
Right.
At least
You're going to find the right woman sooner or later, Jim.
I did.
We know you did.
But
that's right.
but what happens is, I will talk to a potential client, and as I'm getting to know them as they're relating the facts, I am also getting to know who it is that they're married to. And it will let me know what their potential state of mind is, how they're going to act. And sometimes somebody will say, it's really freaky that you pegged him or her so well. Because people tend to act in predictable patterns. So if I get enough history about things, I know how the person is going to react to a particular type of stimulus. And then from there, what I do is I talk to the client as to how to approach. It depends. In some instances, I can see that there's a significant disparity in negotiating prowess, because within all of these relationships, there's usually a dominant. If it's not dominant on all issues, there's going to be dominant on some issues. So I need to know who is the giver all the time and who is the demander. So if I'm representing the giver all the time, I may tell them to cease their negotiations. They could express their needs and listen to what the person says, but then they have to get back to me and let me know exactly
right before they react.
Exactly. So, you don't accept things. You don't, you review it again with the attorney to determine where the other person is coming from. And
that's to protect them.
It is, because if somebody's going through a divorce or they're going through a paternity action or whatever it may be, the object should be, I want out of the system, I want done. So my interest is accomplishing what we can for this person with the least amount of acrimony, the least amount of damage, the least expense. And that sometimes is just having an awareness about how to ask for what you need and when to ask for what you need, so that the communication is likely to result in you getting what you want. The problem that people have is oftentimes their communication is reactionary, and it really is not calculated to bring about a particular response that they want. It's either keeping the merry-go-round going on, it's one-upmanship, or things like that. So I try to educate the clients to consider, before they do any type of communication, what the purpose is. What is the end? What do I want to happen from this? And then work backwards as far as how will I address this? What words will I use? How to do it so that I don't trigger a bad response in my spouse that I'm obviously having difficulties with, and when to do it so that you're likely to be getting a yes.
So these are words of wisdom from Jim Reape, the Reape Rickett firm. And if you listen, really what we're talking about here, he's a master of psychology. This is really psychological. It's communication, number one.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But, so I won't own that, although we do interact a lot with mental health professionals and psychologists. But believe me, it's just the art of negotiation. It's the art of communication. I started out as a trial lawyer, so I had to learn how to talk to a judge, a witness, and a jury all at the same time.
Sounds like Gino's home.
Even my dogs have an opinion.
There you go.
Probably
Usually
more
we're wrong.
valuable than mine.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I say at your home because you have kids. I don't have a jury.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
definitely.
when a tree falls in the woods and it doesn't make any sound, is the husband still wrong?
Apparently, yes.
I hope you're listening. Again, as Gino said, Jim Reape with Reape Rickett, the Reape Rickett law firm, one of the number one family law firms in town, plus so much more. You have a big group of some of the best attorneys in town.
We do. I'm very proud of the people that we've attracted to us. We have a number of attorneys like myself who have more than 30 years experience, so that's where the wisdom kicks in. Mm-hmm. Why do these people charge more per hour? Well, they happen to be worth it. And, we have a whole, middle level of attorneys, as well as, the younger attorneys who are up and coming and learning the trade. And then a complete support staff who, again, have an average of over 10 years experience assisting people through these family law issues.
You just hit on a great point. You said, why do they charge more per hour? So most attorneys are fee-based per hour, right? Everything's timed and clocked.
Correct.
So, but you might save a ton of hours by working with a true professional. So you got to really evaluate that.
Or get what you need.
Well, you can. and that's where interviewing the attorney comes in, really into focus, because since it is time-based, it's in your best interest to share the information that you need to share and not to go over things again and again and again. And one of the rules that I have is that I have to go over things again and again and again. This is where I'm completely different than the psychotherapist is. I would suggest to the client that they need to get somebody else, because if the facts are the same, my answer is the same. If the facts are the same, my answer is the same. And if the facts don't change, my answer is the same. And it may not be what you want to hear, but there's a lot of power that you have when you know what the result is going to be. If you're going to do something and crash into a wall, it's my job to let you know that, and perhaps there's something that we can do to avoid that.
As humanity, though, don't we tend to make the same mistakes over and over and over again? Don't you tend to see that in your practice?
Well, we do. I mean, and particularly if you're talking about a marriage that's breaking up, these are repeated patterns that have tried one person to the point of saying, I can't tolerate this anymore. So, yeah, the idea is that sometimes it flows over into the divorce, and my job is somehow to try to convince a client to take a different approach. And it's hard. They tell me, that's going to be hard.
We know that one when we give financial advice to some of our clients, too. I want my payment to be this. Not for that house, though. We keep telling you. We're not magicians. All right, so you're again with the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on this fine Saturday before Father's Day, enjoying a great conversation with Jim Reape with the Reape Rickett Law Firm, giving you some insight of some of the things that either you're dealing with or someone you know is probably dealing with. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of us are dealing with these days, or someone else is. And he's just giving us some words of wisdom to help you think things a little differently and be informed. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back with Jim Reape and the Don and Gino Show.